power of not reacting. A path to emotional freedom and inner peace. Have you ever lost your cool over something small? A spilled coffee, a rude comment, or an unexpected delay? We've all been there. These moments feel insignificant, but often ruin our entire day. Why does this happen? It's because we let our emotions take control. What if you could change that? Imagine a life where you remain calm, no matter the circumstances. A life where you make better decisions and build stronger relationships simply by mastering the art of not reacting. In today's video, we'll explore profound lessons from Gautam Buddha, inspiring real-life stories, and practical steps to help you regain control over your emotions. Stick with me, and by the end, you'll have the tools to create a life of peace and emotional mastery. The story of the two kings, a lesson in control. Let's dive deeper into the tale of the two kings, as its simplicity holds profound wisdom. Long ago, in a flourishing kingdom, there ruled a powerful and proud king. He was known for his riches, his grand palace, and his sharp temper. Despite his achievements, this king often found himself at the mercy of his emotions. If his food wasn't to his liking, he would lash out. If his servants were slow, he would rage for hours. His court feared his wrath, but they also pitied him. Beneath his crown and regal demeanor, the king was often a prisoner of his own anger. One day he heard about a neighboring ruler, known far and wide for his wisdom and inner peace. Intrigued, the king decided to visit this wise ruler to learn his secrets. Upon arrival, the visiting king was met with a grand reception. A feast fit for royalty was prepared, complete with golden platters, fragrant dishes, and an orchestra playing soothing melodies. But during the feast, a small, almost trivial event occurred. A tiny fly landed in the visiting king's soup. Immediately, he flew into a rage. Slamming his goblet down, he bellowed, "How dare you serve me a soup with a fly in it? Bring me another bowl at once." The host, the wise king, observed his guest's outburst quietly. Then with a calm smile, he said, "Your Majesty, why do you let such a small thing upset you? It is not the fly that has ruined your mood, but your reaction to it. You have allowed something so insignificant to rob you of your peace." These words struck the visiting king like a lightning bolt. He had spent his life believing that his emotions were caused by external circumstances. But here was a man who suggested otherwise, that the true source of his turmoil lay within himself. Returning to his kingdom, the visiting king began to reflect deeply on this lesson. He noticed how often he let minor inconveniences dictate his mood. Slowly, he started practicing restraint. When his food was late, he paused and reminded himself that frustration wouldn't change the situation. When his advisors made mistakes, he listened with patience rather than anger. Over time, he became a different ruler, calmer, wiser, and more respected. This story isn't just about kings, it's about all of us. How often do we let the flies in our lives, a rude comment, a traffic jam, or a spilled drink, ruin our day? The lesson is clear. The key to emotional control isn't about changing the world around us, but changing how we respond to it. Why emotional control is life-changing? At first glance, emotional control might seem like a small skill, but in reality, it's transformative. Why? Because emotions shape every aspect of our lives, our relationships, decisions, careers, and even our health. Let's take a closer look at why mastering this skill can be life-changing. 1. Better decision-making. Imagine you're at work and a colleague criticizes your idea in a meeting. If you react impulsively, perhaps snapping back or storming out, you might damage your reputation. But if you take a moment to breathe and respond thoughtfully, you can turn a potentially negative interaction into a constructive one. Emotional control allows you to think clearly, even under pressure, leading to smarter, more measured decisions. 2. Stronger relationships. How many arguments with loved ones stem from impulsive reactions? A harsh word spoken in anger can leave wounds that take years to heal. By practicing emotional control, you create space for empathy, understanding, and constructive dialogue. Instead of reacting to a partner's frustration with your own, you can respond with calmness, diffusing the situation and strengthening your bond. 3. Inner peace and happiness. Letting your emotions control you is exhausting. Anger, frustration, and resentment sap your energy and cloud your mind. On the other hand, learning to manage your emotions brings a sense of inner peace. You're no longer at the mercy of every little inconvenience. Instead, you remain calm, centered, and in control, no matter what life throws at you. 4. Professional growth. Leaders and successful individuals often have one thing in common. They know how to stay composed under pressure. Think about it. Would you trust a boss who yells at their team or a colleague who crumbles in a crisis? Emotional control isn't just a personal skill. It's a professional asset that can elevate your career. 5. Physical health benefits. Did you know that unmanaged emotions can take a toll on your body? Chronic stress and anger have been linked to heart disease, high blood pressure, and other health issues. By mastering your emotions, you're not just improving your mental state, you're also protecting your physical well-being. 6. Turning challenges into opportunities. Emotional control doesn't mean suppressing your feelings or ignoring life's difficulties. It means learning to respond in a way that turns challenges into opportunities for growth. For instance, instead of reacting to a failure with despair, you can view it as a chance to learn and improve. Let's reflect on a relatable scenario. Picture yourself stuck in traffic. It's raining, you're late for an important appointment, and the cars ahead aren't moving. The natural reaction might be frustration, maybe even yelling at the steering wheel. But what if instead you took a deep breath, accepted the situation, and used the time to listen to an inspiring podcast or practice gratitude? This shift in perspective not only saves your energy, but also turns a frustrating moment into a productive one. Michael's story, a modern take. Let's bring this lesson into today's world with the story of Michael. Michael was like many of us, a good person, but someone who struggled with his emotions. He was quick to anger, often reacting impulsively to small irritations. Whether it was an argument with a friend, a delay at work, or a traffic jam, Michael's emotions would flare up, leading to regret and strained relationships. One day after a particularly heated argument, Michael decided he had to change. He started researching ways to control his emotions and stumbled upon mindfulness and meditation. At first, the idea of sitting quietly and observing his thoughts felt strange, but he was determined. Michael began by practicing mindfulness for just 5 minutes a day. He focused on his breath, learning to notice his emotions without being consumed by them. He also started using a simple technique. When he felt anger rising, he would pause, take a deep breath, and count to 10 before responding. At first, it was challenging. There were moments when he slipped back into old habits, but over time, Michael noticed a difference. He was no longer reacting impulsively. His conversations became calmer, his decisions more thoughtful, and his relationships stronger. One day, a close friend confided in Michael about a personal issue. Instead of reacting with frustration or impatience, Michael listened attentively and offered thoughtful advice. His friend later said, "Michael, you've changed. You're so calm and wise now." That moment confirmed to Michael that the power of not reacting was life-changing. Timeless teachings of Gautam Buddha. Gautam Buddha, one of the most revered spiritual teachers in history, left behind a treasure trove of wisdom on mastering emotions, finding inner peace, and living a fulfilling life. His teachings transcend time and culture, offering universal truths that resonate with anyone seeking clarity and balance. Let's delve deeper into some of his most profound insights and how they relate to emotional control. You will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger. This quote emphasizes the destructive nature of anger, not to the person it's directed at, but to the person holding on to it. Think of anger as a fire. While it might seem like it's burning others, the flames are actually consuming you. Buddha teaches that letting go of anger is not about excusing harmful behavior, but about freeing yourself from the chains of emotional turmoil. Practical application. When you feel anger rising, remind yourself that holding on to it only harms you. Take deep breaths, step away from the situation if necessary, and focus on calming your mind before responding. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. This metaphor illustrates how anger and resentment can corrode your well-being. Imagine someone cutting you off in traffic. While they drive away unaffected, you spend the next hour stewing over it. Who suffers in this scenario? Buddha's wisdom invites us to release anger for our own peace, not for anyone else. Practical application. Try a mental exercise where you imagine placing your anger in a balloon and letting it float away. This visualization can help you mentally detach from negative emotions. Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. In today's world, we often look for happiness and peace in external achievements, money, relationships, or possessions. But Buddha reminds us that true peace is an internal state, independent of outside circumstances. Emotional control begins when we stop blaming the world for our feelings and take responsibility for cultivating peace within ourselves. Practical application. Start a daily gratitude journal. Reflect on what brings you inner joy and calmness, focusing less on external factors and more on the contentment that arises from within. Hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love. This is the eternal rule. This teaching speaks to the transformative power of compassion. When someone hurts us, our instinct is often to retaliate. But Buddha advises that responding with kindness is the only way to truly break the cycle of negativity. Emotional mastery involves replacing resentment with understanding and forgiveness. Practical application. The next time someone angers you, pause and think, what pain or fear might they be experiencing to act this way? Approaching the situation with empathy can neutralize your own anger. The root of suffering is attachment. Attachment isn't just about material possessions. It also applies to our expectations, desires, and emotional attachments to outcomes. When we cling too tightly to how we think things should be, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Buddha's teaching here is to practice detachment, allowing us to navigate life with greater resilience and less suffering. Practical application. Practice mindfulness by observing your emotions without judgment. Notice when you're clinging to an expectation or outcome, and gently remind yourself to let go and flow with life. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. Buddha's teachings on the mind highlight the immense power of our thoughts. If we fill our minds with anger, frustration, and negativity, our actions and experiences will reflect that. Conversely, cultivating positive, peaceful thoughts leads to a more harmonious life. Practical application. Start your day with affirmations or meditation, setting a positive tone for your thoughts. Over time, this practice will reshape your mental patterns, helping you respond to challenges with calm and clarity. Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace. In our fast-paced and noisy world, it's easy to say too much, especially when emotions run high. Buddha teaches the value of thoughtful, meaningful words, ones that calm rather than inflame. Emotional control often involves saying less, but ensuring what we say is constructive. Practical application. Before speaking during an argument or heated situation, ask yourself, will this bring peace or escalate the conflict? Let your words be tools of resolution rather than weapons of anger. Letting go gives us freedom, and freedom is the only condition for happiness. At the core of Buddha's teachings is the idea that true happiness comes from letting go, not just of possessions, but of grudges, fears, and attachments. Emotional control is deeply tied to this concept, as it's impossible to master your emotions without learning to let go of what no longer serves you. Practical application. Reflect on what you're holding on to, whether it's a past mistake, an unresolved conflict, or a rigid expectation. Commit to releasing it, even if it's just a little at a time. In a controversy, the instant we feel anger, we have already ceased striving for the truth and begun striving for ourselves. This profound insight highlights how emotions, especially anger, can cloud our judgment. When we're caught up in an argument, our focus often shifts from solving the issue to proving we're right. Buddha invites us to rise above this ego-driven reaction and prioritize understanding over victory. Practical application. The next time you're in a disagreement, ask yourself, am I focused on finding the truth or just defending my position? Shift your energy toward resolving the issue, not winning the argument. A holistic approach to emotional mastery. Buddha's teachings are not abstract philosophies. They're practical tools we can integrate into daily life. Whether it's through mindfulness, compassion, or letting go of attachments, these principles guide us toward greater emotional control and a more peaceful existence. By reflecting on these teachings and putting them into practice, we not only transform our own lives, but also create a ripple effect of positivity for those around us. The journey isn't always easy, but as Buddha reminds us, no one saves us but ourselves. We ourselves must walk the path. Practical steps to master emotional control. Let's make this actionable. Here are some practical steps you can take to master the art of not reacting. 1. Mindfulness meditation. Dedicate just 5 to 10 minutes a day to mindfulness. Focus on your breath and observe your thoughts without judgment. This simple practice builds emotional awareness. 2. Pause before responding. When faced with a frustrating situation, pause. Take a few deep breaths and count to 10. This pause creates space for thoughtful responses instead of impulsive reactions. 3. Reflect on your triggers. Keep a journal of moments when you felt emotionally reactive. Over time, you'll identify patterns and be better equipped to handle similar situations. 4. Reframe your perspective. Instead of thinking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" This shift in mindset can turn challenges into opportunities for growth. 5. Practice compassion. When someone irritates you, try to see things from their perspective. Often their behavior is more about them than about you. A real-life transformation Michael's story is proof that these steps work. Over time, he became known for his calm and thoughtful demeanor. His relationships flourished, his career advanced, and most importantly, he found inner peace. One day, Michael's boss pulled him aside and said, "You're an asset to this team, not just because of your skills, but because of how steady and composed you are. It inspires others." Imagine hearing that about yourself. It's not only possible, it's achievable with consistent practice. Why this matters for you. You might be wondering, why should I care about emotional control? I'm doing fine as I am. The truth is, this skill isn't just about managing stress or avoiding arguments. It's about unlocking a better version of yourself. Let's explore why this matters so deeply for your life. 1. It impacts every relationship you have. Think about how many interactions in a day are shaped by emotions. Whether it's with your family, friends, colleagues, or strangers, your ability to manage your emotions influences the quality of these connections. Emotional control allows you to navigate conflicts gracefully, communicate effectively, and build stronger, more trusting relationships. 2. It sets you apart professionally. In a world full of stress and deadlines, emotional composure is a rare and valuable trait. Leaders, problem solvers, and innovators aren't just defined by their skills. They're defined by how they handle pressure. By mastering emotional control, you position yourself as someone others look up to and rely on. 3. It enhances your mental and physical health. Emotional outbursts, chronic stress, and unresolved anger don't just affect your mind. They take a toll on your body too. Studies have shown that poor emotional regulation is linked to heart disease, insomnia, and weakened immunity. On the flip side, cultivating calmness and mindfulness improves overall well-being. It gives you control over your life. How often have you felt like you're at the mercy of circumstances? A bad day at work, a rude comment, or a traffic jam? Emotional control flips the script. Instead of letting the external world dictate your mood, you take charge, responding thoughtfully and living on your terms. 5. It creates a ripple effect. Your emotional state influences those around you. A calm, composed individual has the power to de-escalate tense situations, inspire positivity, and even shift the mood of a room. By practicing emotional control, you contribute to a more peaceful environment for everyone you encounter. Now imagine a life where you wake up every day feeling calm, focused, and in control, where minor inconveniences don't ruin your day and you handle major challenges with grace and clarity. This isn't just an ideal, It's a reality you can create by committing to emotional mastery. Key takeaways. Respond, don't react. Let's break down the most important lessons from today's discussion so you can start implementing them immediately. 1. Pause and reflect. The first step to emotional control is learning to pause. When you feel anger, frustration, or stress building up, take a moment to stop, count to 10, breathe deeply, and let your initial reaction pass. This simple practice can prevent countless regrets. 2. Mindfulness is your foundation. Emotional control isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about becoming aware of them. Mindfulness meditation helps you observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment, giving you the clarity to respond thoughtfully. Start with just 5 minutes a day and build from there. 3. Reframe challenges as opportunities. When something doesn't go your way, instead of reacting with frustration, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? This shift in mindset turns obstacles into stepping stones. 4. Let go of what you can't control. Buddha's teachings remind us that attachment is the root of suffering. By letting go of the need to control everything, whether it's other people's actions or the outcomes of situations, you free yourself from unnecessary stress. 5. Respond with compassion, not anger. Whether it's a difficult coworker, a loved one who's upset, or even a stranger who's rude, choose compassion over retaliation. Ask yourself, what might this person be going through to act this way? Empathy doesn't just diffuse tension, it strengthens relationships. 6. Make emotional control a daily practice. Like any skill, emotional control takes practice. Commit to small, consistent actions, whether it's a daily mindfulness routine, journaling about your triggers, or reflecting on your responses. Over time, these practices will become second nature. Bringing it all together. Mastering emotional control isn't just a skill, it's a way of life. It allows you to break free from the cycle of impulsive reactions, bringing clarity, calmness, and strength to every situation you face. As you embark on this journey, remember that change takes time. Celebrate small victories along the way, and don't be discouraged by setbacks. In the words of Buddha, the mind is everything. What you think, you become. By choosing thoughts and actions rooted in calmness and wisdom, you're not just improving your own life, you're creating a ripple effect of positivity for everyone around you. Start today. The next time you feel your emotions rising, pause, breathe, and choose to respond thoughtfully. Share your experiences in the comments below. I'd love to hear how this practice changes your life. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more insights, and share it with someone who might benefit from this message. Let's create a world where we all respond with reason, not react with impulse. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.